we're seeing competition back in the market, right? Maybe more so than a lot of us would have predicted 6 or 7 months ago. Inventory is really low. A lot of sellers that would like to sell are not selling because they've got a great interest rate on their home. Even though rates are up a little bit, there's a fair amount of buyers out there competing against this low inventory. How do you prep the consumer in your console or during that first or second face-to-face meeting of, hey, you guys might likely be stepping back into a bidding war scenario? What's your walkthrough on that one?
I always think it's more powerful to talk in metaphors than it is to talk directly to people. Here in Silicon Valley, when we talk to our buyers and counsel them, we call this the Garden of Eden of real estate because our average appreciation over the last 40 years is 7.66%, where the rest of the country has been 3.8%. And the beauty about that is, look, everybody comes to the table and wants to get a deal. In our market, getting your foot in the door is the deal. And the question is, how big of a step do we got to make to get your foot in the door? And so I said, and I'll show them a chart, our 40-year chart, which goes up and to the right. And I'll ask them, I said, it's important that when we make that move, that we make a big enough step. Because have you ever, you've ridden an escalator before, right? And they say, yeah. I said, do you ever remember the first time as a kid you tried to get on an escalator? Or if you can't remember, if they say they can't remember, have you ever seen a child try to ride an escalator for the first time? But what happens? When they go, they approach that first step with some apprehension, right? And do they always get on with the first step? Typically not, right? They might put their toes on it, but they step back. And so, but what happens to the step that they missed? Where does that step go? It's up and to the right, right? So what I want to prepare you for is we have to take a big enough step so we can get you on this equity escalator that goes 7.66% per year in our market. That's over $100,000 a year. If we miss that step, and like I said earlier, experience tells us our market when it's moving up can go as much as 3 or 4% per month. That can cost you $40,000 or $50,000. I don't want to let you make that mistake. So here's the way it works. For our clients, we can typically, it usually takes a lot of our clients 3 attempts, 3 offers to get that offer accepted. It doesn't have to take 3, but it takes 3. You know why, Craig?
Why?
Because on the first offer, Craig, I'm going to give you my counsel and advice, and you're not going to listen to what I say, and we're going to write the offer where you want to write it, and we're going to miss it. Okay. The second time, I'm going to offer you my counsel and advice. You're actually going to want to take my advice, and you'll probably go a little bit higher than you want to go, but you won't go to where we say, and you'll miss it. And the third time, we'll get it because you'll have learned and followed my advice. So the reality is anything good in this market doesn't happen in your comfort zone. We're going to need to get a little uncomfortable, and we're going to need to stretch. So.
Wow. Hey, while you're going, the comment section is blowing up saying, can we do this every day? Will this be sent out? Great job. Nick, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think we have a very similar. I mean, we're opposite coasts, and our average sales price isn't 74 million, but the buyers are exactly the same. So like when we're walking through a buyer, I tell them when we walk through a house, you don't have to buy a house just because you saw it. In fact, there's really 3 different types of houses. There's a house that you walk through and go, it's okay. I could see us living here if we got a really good deal. Then you're going to see a house and you're going to say, oh man, I like this. Let's make an offer. Let's try to be competitive. And then there's going to be a house that you say, this is it. We don't want to lose it. Nick, tell me what I need to do. And now I can coach you on how to get this house. But if you tell me it's okay, or maybe you could live there, you might not want to waste the time competing with something you really don't love. Let's look for that house that you say, Nick, pull out all the stops. What do we need to do to get this?